What if the key to unlocking your brain's deepest focus wasn't a new app or a biohack, but a piece of music written in the year 1888 by a man who owned 7 identical velvet suits? The power of this music is that it wasn't designed to grab your attention at all. Its composer called it furniture music, sound that could decorate a room without demanding to be the center of it. There are no dramatic crescendos, no flashy solos. So how did this radical, minimalist experiment become one of the most effective focus aids ever created? And what can the strange mind of its creator teach us about the science of concentration? Meet the Velvet Gentleman. Erik Satie was a man of peculiar habits and even more peculiar genius. He nicknamed himself a phonometrograph, which sounds like a steampunk espresso machine, but was his wry way of saying he was a person who measures and writes down sounds. For a significant period, he owned 7 identical gray velvet suits, one for every day of the week, freeing him from the tyranny of choice. For 27 years, he barred nearly all visitors from his cramped Paris apartment on Rue Cordet. When friends finally entered after his death, they discovered a scene of organized chaos. 2 grand pianos stacked one on top of the other, a collection of over 100 umbrellas, and manuscripts filled with bizarre, poetic stage directions like "on yellowed velvet" or "while gazing at the memory of a rose." While his contemporaries like Debussy and Ravel were painting bombastic, orchestral sunsets, Satie was composing 3-minute miniatures that feel like watching rain slide down a window pane. The Gymnopédies were his quiet, polite revolt against the bloat of German romanticism. He wasn't just writing notes, he was sculpting with silence. And in that quiet rebellion, he stumbled upon a sound that would outlive him by a century. What, exactly, was he trying to capture with these strange and beautiful pieces? Why Gymnopédie? The name itself is a puzzle box. It's borrowed from the ancient Greek Gymnopedia, an annual festival where young Spartan men would dance naked, or at least unarmed, in ritualistic displays for Apollo. Satie, ever the ironist, took the name, left the nudity, but kept the feeling of a slow-motion, meditative ritual. The first Gymnopédie begins on a chord that lingers, refusing to resolve where your ear expects it to. It's like a sigh that never quite becomes a full sentence. This wasn't just music, it was an environment. But after perfecting this sound of serene melancholy, Satie decided to invent a new one. Enter the Gnossiennes. A year after the Gymnopédies, Satie composed a new set of pieces and gave them a name he seemingly invented out of thin air, the Gnossiennes. Scholars still argue over its origins. Does it nod to gnosis, the Greek word for secret, mystical knowledge, referencing Satie's involvement in Gnostic sects? Or is it a reference to the Cretan city of Knossos and its labyrinth, a place of myth and mystery that was being excavated at the time? Whatever the source, the music itself is a journey into the unknown. These pieces toss out traditional bar lines and time signatures, letting time float freely, like incense smoke curling in the air. The first Gnossienne opens with a lonely, questioning melody that sounds as if it's being improvised on the spot, half lullaby, half unresolved question. It's the same steady heartbeat, but this time, it's soundtracking darker, more intricate dreams. Playlist added at in-screen for your convenience. Subscribe to Opera Brownn for information not taught in schools. Brain science, briefly. So, why does this music work so well for focus? The magic often lies around 63 beats per minute, Satie's accidental sweet spot. Neuroscientists have a term for what happens next, downregulation. Your heart rate and brain waves can synchronize with this steady, slow tempo, calming the body's stress responses. This process helps create alpha brain waves, which are linked to a state of relaxed alertness, freeing up your prefrontal cortex for coding, cramming, or creative breakthroughs. The harmonies in these pieces shift every 8 to 12 seconds, just slow enough to keep your amygdala, the brain's alarm center, from flinching, but just fast enough to prevent your mind from wandering off in boredom. With no jarring lyrics or sudden cymbal crashes to spike your cortisol, Satie unintentionally built the blueprint for ambient music 3 decades before Brian Eno gave it a name and a genre. Accidental Prophet. Satie died nearly broke in 1925, his small room stuffed with brilliant scores that few had ever performed. Fast forward through the 20th century, and a new wave of composers like John Cage, Philip Glass, And even Aphex Twin began to drop his name like a secret handshake, a quiet nod to the man who first championed minimalism. Today, Gymnopédie No.1 is everywhere, soundtracking everything from classic films like The Umbrellas of Cherbourg to countless lo-fi hip-hop streams. Satie once joked about writing furniture music, sound that could decorate the silence without hogging the spotlight. Now, streaming platforms tag him with labels like Deep Focus, Study Beats, and Sleep. The joke, it turns out, is on us. The Velvet Gentleman finally achieved the kind of utilitarian fame he always pretended he never wanted. How to actually use. Just to get the most out of this playlist, set the volume so that the quietest notes are like ghosts at the edge of your hearing. You shouldn't have to lean in, just allow them to exist in the space around you. The playlist is designed to alternate between the gentle reassurance of the Gymnopédies and the quiet mystery of the Gnossiennes. When you find your thoughts wandering, try to listen for the gaps between the notes. Satie intentionally left real estate there for your mind to rest. When the last chord finally evaporates into silence, give yourself 30 full seconds before you slam back into the world of notifications and deadlines. Your brain files and consolidates memories more effectively when the auditory cortex is allowed to land on quiet asphalt instead of being immediately jolted by the next algorithmic thumbnail. Tell us in the comments what you accomplished while Satie kept the world on mute. Share this with that one friend who swears, background music just doesn't work for me. And subscribe to Opera Brownn for more composer hacks disguised as deep focus playlists. There are plenty of velvet-covered secrets still to come. Satie once wrote, "The imagination is not a gift, it is a muscle." If that's true, then these miniature piano loops are that muscle's gentlest and most effective workout. Whether you need a soundtrack for intense concentration, a lullaby for a restless mind, or simply proof that less can, in fact, be profoundly more, the Gymnopédies and Gnossiennes are always waiting. They stand ready like 7 identical gray umbrellas, quiet, unassuming, and prepared to shelter you from whatever storm you happen to drag in with you. Playlist provided for your convenience.